pink.
Oh man, I lost my shirt.
No, it's not.
That's Felicia's. Someone left a gray jacket and a pink.
Okay, we'll get that at recess. We'll get it.
I'll go with my shirt.
No, have a seat. We'll get it at recess. There. What I need to see you having some things to get off from the table spot. Put your math in the backpack. All right, so I have an envelope here, and as you know, we're doing social studies this afternoon. We're talking about Lewis and Clark, and we've been talking about the group called the Corps of Discovery, and men that lived with them. And on that journey, they discovered new plants, new animals. They met 50 different Indian groups, as we observed. Today, we're going to look at that diverse number of plants, different animals, and some of those Indian tribes, and we're going to chart them up here on the map. And as you can see, I've put the map up here. We have this whole entire area that is in yellow of the United States. This was owned by the Spanish, and we talked about that. And this area here is what the United States owned, including the Louisiana Purchase right here, which they purchased right before the Lewis and Clark journey. And then the green up here is what the British owned. So Oregon Country, as it was called, was this red. It really wasn't owned by anyone yet, and yet the Spanish wanted it, the United States wanted it, and the British wanted it. And that's when Thomas Jefferson, President Jefferson, said, I need the two of you, Mr. Lewis and Mr. Clark, to travel and see if you can find, what was it, the first thing that he wanted? Nate? Well, what was, he was looking, he knew about the Columbia River, but he wanted something to do with the Columbia River. Susan?
He wanted them to find an easy path to get to the other side.
Okay, what was the name of that? Alyssa?
The Northwest.
The Northwest Passage. They thought that there might be a river system that would connect all the way from St. Louis here, clear across the country to the Pacific Ocean. And that's what the journey was about. And by the way, on your journey, collect anything unusual, write it in your journal, draw pictures of it, write a description of it, and let me know what you find. So in this envelope are two cards. I want you to take your cards out, and I want you to read them, and you'll see this. Keep that in your envelope. It has Lewis and Clark on it. You can look at it. But keep that in your envelope, and we're going to do something with that in the end. Take your two cards out, and you're going to be responsible to share, when I call the number out on the map, to say, it's kind of like, I have, or who has, this number. And these are the categories of things that we're going to chart up here. We're going to chart reptiles. We're going to chart landmarks. We're going to chart fish, land birds, plateau Indian tribes, coastal Indian tribes, plants, Native American handiwork, carnivorous animals. What's a carnivore? Now, A meat eater. These are the animals that eat meat. Carnivorous animals. Hoofed and horned animals. Water birds. Plains Indian tribes. And rodents. Now you will have 2 cards to tell us what you have. And we're going to put these in categories here. And then later this afternoon, I'll lay them out on this table here so that after library you can kind of take a close look at that. All right. Pass these out. Put your name on the envelope on the outside of the envelope. This is, I have no idea what it is. As soon as you get your envelope, put your name on it, and you can open up and look at your cards.
Do you want us to keep on the secret or what?
Here a little bit. Yeah. Yes. Maybe there's one there in your basket you can get. Okay, so I have to take 2 of these out because Michaela had an appointment to go to, and she's not here, and Eddie is absent today. So I'll take these 2 out. All right. Take a look at your cards. Take a look at the number on top, because that will be the important number. All right. So we start here on the Lewis and Clark Trail, and we're going to start with number 1. Number 1 is a reptile. Who has number 1? Come on up, Ken. Can you announce what you have?
I have the plains horned toad.
Wow. So can I read about it? You point to number 1 right there. The shape of the body and shortness of tail has earned this reptile a lizard. The nickname horned toad, discovered at Camp Du Bois before the Corps set out from St. Louis. One was included in the very first shipment of specimens. What that means is that they gathered things, and along the way they sent somebody back with some items to President Jefferson. And in the very first shipment, this horned toad was there. That would probably eventually number 300 specimens sent back to President Jefferson. Right there. Okay, I'm going to put in reptiles. Good job. Number 2 along the trail happens right here. Who has number 2? I have number 2 is what Lucas said, right? Tell him. And what do you have? Did you hear that way back there? Tell them. They want to hear way back there.
The American bison.
Wow, he's got the American bison. And put your finger right there. Point out number 2 to him. Hoofed and horned animals. This is what this goes under. Bison commonly called, what are they commonly called, everyone? Buffalo. Were plentiful at the time of Lewis and Clark's trek. On September 17, 1804, Lewis wrote, "I do not think I exaggerate when I estimate the number of buffalo which could be comprehended at one view to amount to 3,000. The meat of the hump of the buffalo was their favorite meal." Number 3 takes place right here. I have number 3. This is a rodent. But it's a rodent that you will recognize. It's a beaver. This one is called the Missouri beaver. Some, including President Thomas Jefferson, believed that adventurers might find 7-foot-long beavers out west. Now tell me, we live out west. Did they find 7-foot beavers? So, thank goodness they didn't. At one point, a beaver's bite threatened the health of Lewis's pet Newfoundland dog, Seaman. Much to Lewis's relief, his beloved canine companion recovered and made the entire trip.
Yes.
Okay, number 4 takes place right here. You have 4. Come on up. Nice and slow. Did you hear that? Okay, the American Badger. Nate, I need you to pull it. You need to be quiet. Badgers were first seen near the Missouri. One was stuffed and sent back to President Jefferson, and then again near Fort Clatsop. Lewis wrote of its surprising ease and dexterity in digging compared to its slow, clumsy running. I have 2 instances outrun this animal and caught it, the American badger. This is a carnivore animal. Number 5, going along the trail, right here. On the
I
river.
have number 5.
Good. What do you have?
Otto in Missouri.
Otto and Missouri. What do you have? What does it say there?
Plains and Indian tribes.
That's one of the Indian tribes. Number 5. Now take a close look, and you'll need a closer look later today at the housing, because remember we talked about types of housing here in Oregon and Indians. Kind of reminds me of the longhouse. It's a little different. It's a combination. Lewis and Clark held their first official council meeting with the Otto and Missouri peoples, 2 tribes that had banded together following a smallpox epidemic. With these people, Lewis and Clark established their custom of giving gifts, such as peace medals, to tribal representatives they assumed were chiefs. Now listen to this. President Jefferson sent, with Lewis and Clark, 200 peace medals, and they were coins about the size of a quarter. And he thought that they could use that to trade items. Now remember what we recall about the Indians? They kind of like things that they can use again. Can they really use a peace medal?
No.
Some of them are not very impressed with the peace medal. However, if you are fortunate enough today to have one of those peace medals, you would have an antique worth a lot of money. And just so happened, have any of you ever watched the Roadshow, Antique Roadshow on PBS? Well, there's a roadshow that you have that has antiques and people bring their antiques. One person came with an antique, and they had one of those peace medals. And I don't remember the exact cost, but it was worth a lot of money. So 200 peace medals Lewis and Clark took with them, and on the peace medal was a picture of President Jefferson. Yes.
My auntie likes to travel a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and this one time she was traveling and she met this Indian tribe,
Great.
and I'm not sure if it was my auntie. It was
And I
someone in
bet
my
she
family.
learned lots of interesting things about it.
She also asked them to make a canoe.
Okay, number 6. Who has number 6?
Bull snake.
Bull snake. Whoa. Can you put your finger right there? I don't know how friendly they are. Let's see. It's a reptile.